Blake Lively is forced to drop her subpoena from Perez Hilton. We got him here to celebrate.
The champagne is flowing and the celebration music is blasting because Blake Lively just got absolutely demolished in court. The Gossip Girl star has been forced to withdraw her subpoena against celebrity blogger Perez Hilton. And honey, this isn't just a legal loss. This is a complete public humiliation. Picture this, one of Hollywood's most protected golden couples, Blake and Ryan Reynolds, going up against a gossip blogger and getting their designer boots handed to them by the ACLU of all organizations. The irony is delicious. What started as Blake's attempt to silence critics and intimidate anyone who dared speak against her has backfired spectacularly. The court documents are sealed, but sources close to the situation are spilling tea faster than a Real Housewife at a reunion taping. This isn't just about one withdrawn subpoena. This is about a pattern of legal bullying that's finally being exposed. Blake thought she could weaponize the legal system to crush anyone who criticized her behavior during the It Ends With Us promotional disaster. Instead, she's created a PR nightmare that makes her flower crown controversy look like child's play. The queen bee just got stung, and everyone in Hollywood is watching.
I can't say I think the judge is biased. That's ridiculous. No, but seriously, why should a pro se movement not be allowed to tell the judge he or she thinks they're biased? That's BS.
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. The American Civil Liberties Union stepped in, and Blake's team immediately folded like a house of cards. One phone call from the ACLU, and suddenly Blake's lawyers were racing to the courthouse faster than paparazzi, chasing a Kardashian scandal. The timing is everything here, people. The ACLU called Blake's legal team on a Thursday, and by Friday morning, that subpoena was withdrawn so fast, it left skid marks on the court documents. But that's not all.
There was a possibility where even though she withdrew the subpoena, the judge might not have signed off on it, but he did, thankfully. This judge didn't want to deal with this because he knows how contentious it is over in New York, and it even spilled over here to Nevada and Florida where you're dealing with it as well. And because I am Perez,
Blake's team literally begged the ACLU not to file their official notice of appearance. They knew exactly what that would look like. America's premier civil rights organization going to war against Hollywood royalty over free speech. The optics would have been catastrophic. Imagine the headlines. Blake Lively tries to silence critics, gets schooled by civil rights lawyers. Ryan Reynolds' Disney-friendly image couldn't survive that kind of controversy, especially with his Deadpool empire hanging in the balance. The desperation was palpable. Blake's high-powered legal team, who probably charge more per hour than most people make in a month, got outmaneuvered by an organization that fights for constitutional rights. The message was crystal clear. Mess with free speech, and we'll make you famous for all the wrong reasons. Things get even messier when you dive into what Blake was actually demanding. The original subpoena wasn't just broad, it was disgustingly, painfully, unnecessarily invasive. We're talking about a fishing expedition that would make the FBI jealous. Blake's team wanted everything. Every email, every text message, every social media post, every private conversation. They were basically asking for Perez Hilton's entire digital life to be handed over on a silver platter. It gets even worse. They whittled down their demands to just 5% of what they originally asked for. 5%! That means 95% of their initial subpoena was complete legal harassment with no legitimate purpose. Any first-year law student could have told them this was an abuse of the legal system, but Blake's team went full nuclear anyway. The reason this happened will shock you. Sources suggest this was pure retaliation. Blake couldn't handle being criticized during her tone-deaf It Ends With Us promotional tour, so she decided to weaponize the court system against her critics. The legal documents show they never even tried to meet and confer, which is standard practice. They went straight for the throat, hoping to intimidate Perez into silence through sheer legal costs and emotional exhaustion. What came next surprised everyone in the legal community. The Nevada judge started making demands that had constitutional lawyers scratching their heads in disbelief. He wanted Perez to hand over the names of his confidential sources in something called a privilege log. For a journalist, that's like asking a priest to break the confessional seal. It goes against everything the profession stands for. And listen to this. When Perez questioned why Nevada law wouldn't apply in Nevada court, pointing out that Blake had successfully argued for California law to be applied in New York federal court, the judge refused to explain his reasoning. The double standard was so blatant, it made legal experts' heads spin. Blake gets to forum shop and apply whatever state's laws benefit her case, but Perez gets denied the same courtesy in his home state? Things take an unexpected turn when the judge offered to make Blake pay for forensic experts and paralegals to help compile the requested documents. Sounds generous, right? Wrong. This was essentially the court system bending over backwards to accommodate what multiple legal experts have called an abusive subpoena. The message was clear: we'll make this as easy as possible for the celebrity plaintiff, regardless of how inappropriate their demands might be. The truth is more complicated than it looks, and insiders are finally speaking out about Blake's real motivations. This was never about gathering legitimate evidence for her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. This was about punishing anyone who dared criticize her behavior during one of the most tone-deaf promotional campaigns in recent Hollywood history. Things escalated faster than anyone expected when Blake's team refused to follow basic legal protocols. They could have resolved this quietly through a simple meet and confer process, which is standard practice in civil litigation. Instead, they chose the nuclear option, a broad, invasive subpoena designed to bankrupt critics through legal fees and emotional warfare. But here's the kicker. Multiple legal experts believe Blake would have kept pursuing this harassment campaign indefinitely if the ACLU hadn't intervened. The costs were irrelevant to someone married to a man worth over $150 million. The bad publicity was manageable with their high-powered PR teams. But fighting America's most respected civil rights organization, that was a bridge too far, even for Hollywood royalty. The pattern is undeniable. Blake has been using lawfare tactics against multiple critics, hoping to create a chilling effect that would silence anyone who questioned her narrative. The strategy was working until it wasn't. And it doesn't stop there. Blake's legal team is drowning in their own documentation strategy. Her lawyers are dealing with over 80,000 pieces of evidence in the main lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, and sources say they're struggling to manage the massive paper trail they've created. The irony is absolutely delicious. Blake's attempt to bury her critics in paperwork has buried her own legal team instead. This is where it gets downright chaotic. Legal insiders suggest Blake's team is starting to realize they may have bitten off more than they can chew. Fighting multiple subpoena battles while managing a complex defamation case is stretching their resources thin, even with unlimited financial backing from the Reynolds empire. The drama doesn't end here. Blake tried to spin the subpoena withdrawal as a victory, claiming they got everything they needed from other parties. But court documents reveal the truth. They should have exhausted those other sources before ever targeting Perez. It's basic legal procedure, and her team either ignored it deliberately or demonstrated shocking incompetence. The fallout? Even worse than Blake's team anticipated. The withdrawn subpoena isn't being seen as strategic brilliance, it's being viewed as an admission that their original demands were legally indefensible and ethically questionable. And just when you thought it was over, legal experts are predicting both Blake and Justin Baldoni will settle their main lawsuit before it goes to trial in March. The reason? Neither side can guarantee a victory, and too much is at stake for both of their careers. The bar for proving sexual harassment is incredibly high, and if Blake loses that claim, her workplace retaliation case automatically crumbles. What insiders revealed next changed everything about how Hollywood views this scandal. Both sides are essentially performing theater for the public while their lawyers negotiate behind closed doors. The Taylor Swift subpoena drama? Pure theatrics designed to generate headlines and apply public pressure. They never even issued a proper subpoena to depose her. This is where the story takes its most dramatic turn yet. Blake is still married to Ryan Reynolds, who remains an A-list powerhouse with upcoming Avengers appearances and successful business ventures. As long as that marriage survives, Blake's career will survive too. Hollywood has forgiven far worse from far less protected celebrities. The chess game continues, but insiders believe both sides recognize that a public trial would be mutually assured destruction for everyone involved. The deeper you dig, the stranger it gets, especially when it comes to Taylor Swift's role in this entire mess. The timeline is fascinating. Blake and Taylor's friendship noticeably cooled right around the time Blake's drama with Justin Baldoni began heating up in 2023. Coincidence? In Hollywood, there are no coincidences. And that's when things went completely off script with the Sabrina Carpenter connection. Sabrina still follows Justin Baldoni on social media, despite being much closer to Taylor now. If Taylor really believed Blake's version of events, wouldn't she have influenced Sabrina to distance herself from Justin? The social media follows and unfollows in this scandal tell a story that Blake's PR team doesn't want told. But wait until you hear this. Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds around the same time Taylor started distancing herself from Blake. These aren't random social media moves, they're calculated decisions that speak volumes about what Hollywood's inner circle really thinks about this situation. Taylor's lawyers are among the best in the business, and they've masterfully avoided any real involvement while making it seem like Taylor was willing to cooperate. It's brilliant legal strategy that protects Taylor while subtly undermining Blake's narrative. This is where the cracks really start to show in Blake's victim narrative, and the entertainment industry is finally waking up to what's been happening. Blake Lively is not Amber Heard, and this situation proves why celebrity status still trumps everything else in Hollywood. Blake has the Reynolds fortune, the industry connections, and the media machine to survive virtually any scandal. The story only gets darker from here when you consider the bigger picture. Blake's team strategically targeted critics and journalists while ignoring other potential witnesses who might have been more favorable to their case. They never subpoenaed Billy Bush, despite his clear connections to the situation. They gave preferential treatment to certain media personalities while launching legal warfare against others. And what happened next had fans stunned. The realization that this entire campaign was designed to create a chilling effect on entertainment journalism. The message was clear: criticize Blake Lively, and you'll face expensive legal consequences that could bankrupt independent journalists and small media outlets. The entertainment industry is finally recognizing this for what it really was: an attempt to weaponize the legal system against free speech and independent journalism. The ACLU's intervention wasn't just about protecting one blogger, it was about protecting every critic's right to hold celebrities accountable. Here's where it all goes off the rails for Blake's carefully crafted image rehabilitation campaign. This subpoena scandal has exposed a pattern of behavior that goes far beyond one controversial movie promotion. Hollywood insiders are now questioning everything about how Blake and Ryan handle criticism and negative coverage. The internet wasn't ready for this level of legal transparency, and the court documents have provided a masterclass in how not to handle a PR crisis. Blake's attempt to silence critics has amplified their voices instead, creating the Streisand effect on steroids. Every withdrawn subpoena, every failed legal maneuver, every desperate attempt to control the narrative has backfired spectacularly. What the future holds is anyone's guess, but the damage to Blake's reputation among industry professionals is undeniable. The ACLU victory has emboldened other critics and journalists to speak more freely about celebrity misconduct, knowing that constitutional rights organizations are watching and willing to intervene. The final irony: Blake's legal warfare campaign has made Justin Baldoni more famous and sympathetic than he's ever been, while destroying her own credibility with the entertainment press. Sometimes the best way to lose a war is to win every battle through intimidation and fear. Blake learned that lesson the hard way.